If you played or watched Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, you probably noticed that the game felt very different from its predecessors. It's such a radical departure from Chapters 2 and 3, it almost feels like it was made by a completely different development team. Because it kind of was. Over the past year or so, nearly all the senior development staff at Mob Entertainment, including the game's director, Isaac Christopherson, resigned amidst allegations that the company's executives had been fostering a toxic work environment. Most of the key people responsible for the creative decisions behind Poppy Playtime Chapters 2 and 3 are gone, and you can tell. Chapter 4 features countless visual anomalies, game-breaking bugs that completely soft-lock the player without any indication that something has gone wrong, and most disastrously, a problem that causes one of the game's main enemies to simply never show up, completely ruining what I think was supposed to be the centerpiece of the game.
I feel like yarnaby's supposed to be here, but okay, maybe not.
It isn't just the glitches though. Even when the sequences do work, they're boring, frustrating, or both. Furthermore, with all the top people from the design team on Chapter 3 having quit, gone are the varied and unique environments like the game station, Playcare, and Home Sweet Home. The entirety of Chapter 4 takes place in a drab, boring prison that feels like something out of a generic asset flip horror game. And while Poppy justifies this in its lore, it's still ugly, repetitive, and easy to get lost in. Most importantly though, the game just isn't scary at all. While Mob Entertainment is no stranger to controversy, until now their core staff had stuck by them. When fellow YouTuber/game developer Eckercoaster came forward with his allegations of abuse by the Mob executives, game director Isaac X had always been excluded from the controversy. He was the one guy involved with the company's leadership that managed to avoid drama, and he remained with Mob despite all the bad vibes surrounding his superiors. It's understandable, Poppy Playtime was his baby and he obviously wanted to see it through, yet suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, he just resigned, along with nearly all the other team leaders. With Chapter 4 being so much worse than its predecessors, one has to wonder, what happened at Mob Entertainment that caused the team to say enough? After weathering so many storms caused by their boss's behavior, what could have possibly happened to convince everyone to abandon this project that they'd worked so hard on and found so much success with? I'm really not a hater though. I'll always be honest about games, and despite Mob Entertainment CEO Zach Belange and I having a history of not really getting along, I praised Chapter 3 for being a big improvement over the prior games. And I even ended my review saying that I thought Poppy Playtime was getting pretty cool. To its credit, Chapter 4 does have some redeeming factors, including an awesome smiling critter graveyard at the start of the game, the safe haven refuge for the few remaining sane toys that haven't allied with the prototype, and Doey, who's certainly the most interesting and developed character in the series so far. However, most of the good things in Chapter 4 are either near the start or completely lore-related, and thus likely completed before the mass resignations at Mob Entertainment. Furthermore, everything between these few key moments is a massive step backwards for the franchise. Obviously, Poppy Playtime is bigger than any one person, but with nearly all of the team leads gone, I don't have a lot of confidence that this game series can maintain the level of quality that we've come to expect, and we see that with Chapter 4. That said, as mentioned before, the opening environment is actually really cool. We find ourselves in a massive smiling critter graveyard with thousands of dead plushies piled atop one another.
Find the entrance to the prison. This is awesome. Hold on. I just need to step back. This is awesome.
Unfortunately, we don't spend much time here, and no other environment in the game is nearly as striking as this. It's almost like they knew they needed something big to wow the people who watch YouTube videos of this game right at the start, which makes sense considering Mob Entertainment is a company founded by FNAF YouTubers. Throughout the area, we find notes indicating that upon being selected for experimentation, the orphans from Playcare would be brought to the prison, as they were now, evil man-eating toys. And after a brief, bizarre combat section with a bunch of mini huggies, we enter the prison, solve a puzzle, ride a train, and are introduced to the doctor.
Now what's this?
The doctor is the antagonist for most of the chapter, though he's really just a voice that taunts you. Thankfully, his voice acting is good, and as we begin to traverse the prison, we see that things aren't going very well.
I want to see him. Hey, I want to see the dead guy. Come on.
Starving, smiling critters are devouring each other, and it's obvious that resources are scarce here.
Hey, Dog Day, Bobby Bear Hug, don't eat catnap, don't eat little nappy cat. Hey, guys, that's your friend, dude. Oh, no, Dog Day. Bobby, stop. All right, sorry, guys. I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this.
It's subtle, but I do think scenes like this are important to establish why otherwise innocent toys would end up allying with the prototype.
Nappy cat!
Please, do you have any food?
Can you eat this?
Which will kill us first, you think? The doctor or hunger?
I prefer not to even think about it.
Next, we get an incredibly chaotic survival section where we have to close a bunch of doors to prevent the doctor's evil gang of man-eating furries from killing us.
Oh, a vent! We need to vent! It didn't work, oh no!
It felt very similar to the huggy attack from the start of the game, but it's fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's a lot better than the disastrous sections we'll encounter later.
No!
I have seen enough. Thank you. You may proceed.
What are you, like a bumblebee?
Afterwards, we're introduced to Yarnaby, the game's antagonist, kind of, but we'll get to them in a second.
The name's Yarnaby. Would you wanna be my friend?
Well, guys, thanks for watching. I don't think I can live in this world anymore.
This is around the time the game's visual anomalies began to get really bad. Entire areas would appear and disappear when you crossed invisible thresholds on the ground, and in a nonsensical way. Objects would disappear as you got closer to them, or quickly cycle through several LODs over the course of just a step or two.
What the hell, dude? What is this, dude? We're going through 3 LODs in 1 second. Dude, they need to bring Isaac back, because this did not happen in the other Poppy games, man. This did not happen when Isaac was around.
This is a problem throughout the entire game, and while it's not game breaking, it's certainly immersion breaking, and it's just not the level of polish that we've come to expect from Poppy Playtime, which has historically been a very good looking, solidly programmed game.
Why is Nappy Cat just appearing and disappearing at will? Nappy Cat, what are you doing, dude? I can't handle this. Nappy Cat, you can't just be doing this, okay? You can't just existing, not existing, not existing. You're supposed to exist, if anything, exist when I get close and don't exist when I get far away. Not the opposite, dude. What were they smoking, bro, when they made this? When I was working on Poppy, it was not like this. When I worked on mob games.
Unfortunately, this is only the beginning of the game's problems. The doctor traps us in a room and fills it with red smoke, and we're supposed to escape, but it's super unclear that anything is happening or that a timer has even started and that we're about to die.
What happened to Poppy? Why is this Poppy Playtime? Why is nothing chasing us? Why are we just dying slowly in red smoke with no directions?
The solution is to pry these bars up off the floor and drop down, and to the game's credit, it tries to communicate this to the player using a flashing light and yellow tape on the bars, but the moment the sequence begins, the room fills with red smoke and everything becomes super washed out. Even more frustrating, the longer you stand in the smoke, the worse your vision becomes, making an already poor indicator even harder to notice. Furthermore, even when you do notice, you have to pry the bars from a very specific direction, otherwise it doesn't work. This is the kind of problem that would inevitably come out in playtesting, and the fact that this jank made it into the game suggests to me that the QA process for Chapter 4 was incredibly rushed. Anyway, we turn off the red smoke, and what follows is an incredibly boring traversal section in which nothing happens. However, I did notice the game was starting to run like crap, which was surprising because I have an RTX 4090.
What is this, dude? Why can this not run at 144 frames a second? You guys probably won't see because the stream is at 60, but I'm playing on a display that can refresh a lot faster than that, and like I can tell that it's all over the place, and now you can see it. Like, look how all over the place it is.
This is frankly unacceptable performance for a UE4 game in 2025. Anyway, we walk around boring, repetitious corridors for like 10 minutes and solve a dumb puzzle before finally encountering Yarnaby, who the doctor refers to as one of their pets.
Hey, Yarnaby!
Please, do keep making this enjoyable. I'll be taking notes.
I don't know, I guess I like Yarnaby a little bit.
Yarnaby is cool, I guess. They're apparently attracted to sound, so you need to sneak around them to progress.
Yo. Come on, you piece of shit!
However, just a few moments later, we're introduced to the true villain of Poppy Playtime, the terrifying Pianosaurus.
He should have played the JoJo theme.
Now that hit the spot. I haven't eaten in weeks.
Who is this Ban looking motherfucker?
Yeah, just kidding. Pianosaurus dies instantly, having been viciously devoured by Doey, a Play-Doh monster that looks like he came straight out of Garten of Ban. Fortunately, Doey is an ally of Poppy and Kissy, and he's been expecting us.
Hiya there, pal. Don't worry, I won't eat you. I'm Doey. I was told to expect you.
Unfortunately, this leads us to the game's next puzzle, which is not very good. Figuring out the code to this keypad isn't so bad, but the reward are these levers that go into slots around the prison yard, yet don't seem to do anything.
Can this help?
Okay, they're all in, dude. I did it. I solved the puzzle, I guess.
Giving the player a new item that doesn't immediately do anything is poor puzzle design, and it turns out that we need to grab these hooks that don't stand out from the environment at all, attach them to the door, and then pull the levers.
What?
If the game had drawn your attention to the chains in the door from the start, the puzzle would probably be a lot more coherent. But as it stands, you can acquire all the pieces of the puzzle, yet still have no idea what to do with them or how to solve it. As you struggle, Doey talks to you from behind the door, and this is another crappy part about Poppy Chapter 4. A lot of conversations and dialogue that obviously should have been animated simply aren't. Instead, they hide characters behind walls and have you listen in through vents and stuff, and it's a shame because some of the dialogue is particularly cool and it deserved to be animated.
We only got food for one of you this week. They'd say, which of you will it be? They'd watch from up there. It was usually over within minutes.
As a 3D animator myself, I'll be the first to tell you that Mob Entertainment has a reputation for excellent animation, and it's one of the things that always set Poppy apart from the other mascot horror games. There was actually animation in it. To Chapter 4's credit, the animation is still good despite obvious shakeups on the team, but something definitely happened. I think poor timing and budgeting just didn't leave the team with enough time to properly animate these scenes because we know that they're capable of it. I really have no criticisms of the game's animation other than that I wish that there was more of it. The game's lighting, on the other hand, is weak.
What is going on with this lighting, dude?
Admittedly, there's only so much they can do when they're given this boring gray-brown prison to work with, but there are some obvious problems. Poppy Playtime isn't ray-traced and uses pre-calculated static lighting for everything, along with light probes to detect ambient lighting. This is a tried and true technology, but there are a lot of limitations. For example, when we finally leave the prison yard, we can see the baked lighting streaming in from the doorway, even after the door closes. Furthermore, something seems to be glitched with the aforementioned light probes because at numerous points in the game, the exposure would just start going crazy and washing everything out, only for the lighting to correct itself after taking a few steps forward.
Where's the other? Dude, why is it so bright? And then, oh, look at this. Yeah, you go out and it just starts like indigo parking into craziness. And then you go back in and it just stops. Indigo parking into insanity. Look at this. Gone.
To be clear, this is not a stylistic lighting choice. This is broken. After solving the incredibly trivial gear puzzle, we encountered an issue where we couldn't seem to drop one of the extras that we were holding.
I want to drop it, bro.
It turns out that the way to do this is by holding down the mouse button, and the game actually did try to explain this near the start in a hint window, but due to glitchy programming, it was only visible on my screen for a few frames and thus was impossible to read.
What? Okay. It was a hint and it disappeared immediately.
Thankfully, we made it through the puzzle, and as we move forward, we're suddenly pulled aside by Poppy and Kissy Missy, who's super messed up from the fight at the end of Chapter 3.
should be able to make it into the safe haven from there.
Dude, Kissy got messed up.
Also, I know Kissy is supposed to be all burnt and disfigured, but I'm pretty sure her teeth are clipping through her bottom lip. I don't think that was deliberate. Finally, after all this bullshit, we get to enter Safe Haven, the home base of Poppy, Kissy, Doey, and the few remaining sane toys who resist the prototype. I have to admit, this area is pretty cool. It's not very large, but it looks fantastic. It's an awesome, colorful break from the miserable, boring prison we've been in this whole time. And getting to walk around and see the toys interacting with each other is really cool. Unfortunately, there's a lot of corner cutting with the Smiling Critters animation. All of them share the same animation rig, which is really useful because it allows them to, share animations, which saves lots of time, but they all have different tails, and no single rig would work for all of them. Thus, the base model for the critters includes rigs for all of their tails at once, and these need to be animated separately for each, and they kind of weren't. The characters like Catnap and Bubba Bubba that have longer tails just look weird.
Nappy Cat, your tail is looking a little erect, I have to be frank. That's the correct term, I'm serious, guys. Dog Day, you look like you were in a position to receive Cappy Nat's erect tail. What is going on with the weight painting, the zipper? You could just see right into them. It's just like they didn't even try. You just see through them.
Beyond that though, it's really cool to see sane toys interacting with each other, and the environmental storytelling is excellent as well. Looking at the murals the toys have drawn on the walls, it's clear that Poppy is a controversial figure, having left Safe Haven at some point prior to the game, getting locked in the box we initially found her in, and failing to return. Many of the toys assumed she abandoned them, and they consider her a traitor, with her recent reappearance alongside us, a human and a former employee of Playtime Co. at that, causing immense suspicion amongst the dwellers of Safe Haven.
What's Poppy doing here?
I don't know, they just let her in.
Why? That's inviting a whole lot of trouble we don't need. I mean, how do we even know we can trust her this time?
We don't know, so let's just be careful, especially around her new friend.
Employee. Can't forget that.
Shh, I think they might be listening.
Despite the refuge being a literal safe place for the toys, the mood is bleak. Everyone here is scared, exhausted, and hungry, with many of the toys still suffering from injuries sustained in their many tussles with the prototype and the toys allied with him. Doey is the de facto leader of Safe Haven, especially since Poppy has been gone, and he feels responsible for the children. This mirrors his actions as a human. We learn that one of the personalities that make up Doey, there are several, was an older boy in the Playcare orphanage. Being 15 years old, he knew his chances of getting adopted were slim, and he became incredibly protective of the younger orphans, a responsibility he continues to uphold even now that they've all been turned into monstrous toys. Doey explains that we need to get our hands on the doctor's Omni Hand to perform service on Safe Haven's generator, which is essential for protecting the few remaining sane toys.
I need you to stop the doctor. To take his Omni Hand.
Okay, we'll stop Omni-Man, it's fine. Nappy Cat and Dog Day have a BFF. I told you guys they was dating. I told y'all that they were dating. Everybody knows it.
Other reproductive harm. Cat does not include a penis.
Hey Dad, can we get Catnap?
We already have a cat. He's right over there.
No Dad, this is Dog Day. Catnap is his boyfriend.
Immediately upon leaving, we overhear another really interesting conversation between Poppy and Doey that gives us more background on the two's differences. The implication is that Poppy sees all of the living toys as a mistake, including herself and the residents of Safe Haven, and she's really not concerned about their well-being. For Poppy, getting revenge on the prototype and destroying them is everything, even if it means sacrificing the few remaining sane toys. Doey, on the other hand, feels that in spite of everything, he and the other children-turned toys deserve a chance at life.
But us, everyone in there, we're not just things gone wrong. We're people. Can't you see that?
I can. And I'm sorry.
This is one of the best, most interesting exchanges in the series so far, and yet it's overheard through a pipe. It wasn't animated. With dialogue this important, you'd think Mob Entertainment would give it some reverence and actually let us see the exchange between Doey and Poppy, but we don't. And it again suggests to me that the animation team was extremely rushed for this chapter. Also, some of Poppy's dialogue sounds really weird, almost inhuman, like it's an AI of Poppy's voice.
It's the best for everyone, Doey.
that no trace of this place is left. We shouldn't wait anyway. Head for the foundation. Plant the explosives. Meet back here after. We'll go over what comes next.
I think it's AI.
I have no evidence of this, but for whatever reason, Poppy's dialogue feels very stilted and strange, like she doesn't really understand the words she's saying. This was never an issue in prior chapters, and Poppy's voice actress hasn't changed, so again, I can only assume that the recording and voice direction were rushed because Poppy really sounds artificial at times, to the point that it kind of reminds me of the fake Russian Poppy Playtime videos that use 11 Labs AI voices for these characters.
I think it's time for us to go to Ollie. Open this gate with the battery. Hi again. Go ahead. We'll get to the amusement park soon. Though before that, we'll have to go through difficult places. But I think we can handle it. Good luck. The Theft King channel is all about adorable puppies and kittens. If you don't subscribe to Theft King, you hate adorable puppies and kittens. You don't hate adorable puppies and kittens, do you?
As we make our way towards the doctor to save Omni-Man from the Viltrumites, the evil scientist sicks Yarnaby on us once again, and the game begins to hit us with hints.
Do we win?
Redirect the wires, stay quiet, and use these hiding spots to avoid Yarnaby. It's obvious that the game is setting us up for a stealth section in which we need to complete wire puzzles while avoiding the lion pinata in order to progress. Unfortunately, Yarnaby never showed up. They just didn't spawn. Ever.
Is Yarnaby supposed to be here? This game is too easy, bro. Feel like Yarnaby's supposed to be here, but okay, maybe not. This is so funny. This is so boring. I'm pretty sure Yarnaby's supposed to be here. Remember when I played Chapter 3 and Mr. Light never spawned?
What was presumably meant to be one of the game's core intense segments was incredibly awkward and boring. We just casually walked around solving the wire puzzles without any threat of dying. The fact that Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 shipped with this bug is a complete disaster. Arguably, it's even worse than the game-breaking softlocks we'll encounter later, because at least with those, you eventually restart the checkpoint and are able to have the intended experience. However, when Yarnaby doesn't spawn, that's it. There's nothing else in this area that can kill you, so if this bug triggers even once, the player will inevitably complete the section without any threats present and move on, trivializing what might have been the single best segment in the game, and certainly the one that took the most time to make. I can only imagine it's pretty heartbreaking for the developers to see that many players, including popular creators like Fusion and unpopular creators like myself, inadvertently skipped over all the hard work they put into this.
I genuinely, I feel like he's bugged, but like I said, I restarted the game, so I don't, he can be. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. Very weird so far.
While I could go back and retry this section and hopefully have Yarnaby actually show up this time, I have to review the game I played, and in my playthrough, there was no Yarnaby.
That was the worst section ever. What? We think Yarnaby should be here, Cotton. It seems like they should be, because otherwise that was the dumbest thing ever. Look at all these hiding spots. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're just getting used to the area, and now the chase happens or whatever. Now he chases us. Maybe Yarnaby shows up later, yeah.
Ironically, even without the enemy chasing me, it still took a good 10 minutes to solve all of these puzzles. The wires in this game are frankly really tiresome, and the game relies on them for nearly everything, which gets old super fast. I'm honestly glad Yarnaby didn't spawn, because the wires were tedious enough without any threats trying to kill us. Either way, this is a disaster and they need to patch it immediately, because it ruins what is arguably the centerpiece of the entire chapter. Of course, after we solved the puzzle, the Yarnaby chase sequence worked correctly. Unfortunately, it's awful. It's not even really a chase sequence.
Gimme! Holy shit! Dude, he can't fly! Dumbass. Easiest enemy in Poppy by far. He just chases you once and dies, dude. Doesn't even stalk you at all. Terrible, dude. Terrible section.
This really sucks because Mob Entertainment has always been known for excellent scripted cinematic chase sequences like the Huggy and Mommy Longleg chases in chapters 1 and 2 respectively. Chapter 3's Dog Day chase wasn't great, but it was better than this, and I once again suspect that losing all the key personnel from the earlier chapters has left Mob Entertainment incapable of designing the awesome chases that made Poppy popular in the first place. Perhaps they phoned in the chase because they expected you to have already experienced lots of close calls and deaths from Yarnaby during the wire section, but because Yarnaby never showed up for me, this was all I got, and it was awful.
Oh shit.
For me and everyone else who encountered this glitch, which was apparently a lot of people, Yarnaby was a massive, massive disappointment. Afterwards, we run into Doey again and then continue our pursuit of the doctor. At one point, we need to solve a puzzle before we freeze to death, but it's not immediately obvious that a timer has started, and the doctor talks to us the whole time, which meant I didn't even realize that I was supposed to be doing something until I was nearly dead. I thought it was like a cutscene.
And she... Oh, so innocent.
What is going on?
Yes, that wouldn't surprise me. Exactly as
I'm freezing to death.
You've seen what they did at there.
I kind of get what's going on, but not really. I have to use this hand to do something. Dude! Give it, dude! That was not clear.
The fact that one of our hands is being restricted by the doctor and that we need to retrieve this weird looking one with the wire clipping through it just isn't obvious, and it's honestly a miracle I managed to figure this out the first time through. Unfortunately, the next puzzle is the worst in any Poppy game ever. Maybe the worst in any mascot horror game ever. We're given a gas mask and forced to wander around a maze of boring gray corridors, locating half-destroyed toys and using the last digit of each of their codes to solve a puzzle. However, the puzzle makes no sense. Each toy has a code, and each is missing a limb that corresponds to one of the limbs on these posters, which provides us the order that we need to input them. And the game even shows us images of each toy so that we can see which limb they're missing, but you can't. You can't tell what's going on at all. Braun is obviously missing his head, but Huggy is missing his right forearm, or maybe his hand, and then PJ Pugapillar is missing his whole left arm, I think, but Bunzo Bunny is also missing his arm, or maybe his leg. It's totally unclear.
And I don't even know what this guy's missing, dude, because you can't see what's going on.
I literally figured this puzzle out, but couldn't solve it because which limb was missing on which toy was completely incomprehensible. I refuse to believe that this puzzle was playtested because it's terrible, and inevitably many of the testers would have, or at least should have, gotten just as confused as I did.
No, dude, because sometimes, like, dude, this puzzle's like, it's so dumb. It makes no sense. Completely illogical. They use the worst pictures where you can't see what the f is going on. Like, what is this? What is this? Is that his foot or his arm? I can't tell. Is he missing a foot there? I can't see. Is he missing a hand there and an arm? He's missing everything, dude. This is so dumb.
In the end, one of my mods just told me the code because I'd already worked out what the game wanted me to do, but the clues the game provided were useless. This puzzle is bullshit and probably the worst designed thing in any Poppy game ever.
What were they thinking? You have to playtest your shit because whatever crack the guy who designed this was smoking, I don't have that crack, dude. I don't have that crack, so I can't get my brain on the same wavelength as this idiot. Yeah, dude, maybe if I had the same vent that these guys were on when they designed this puzzle, I could get on their wavelength and understand it. What were they smoking? I want some, dude. I bet it's fire, dude. I bet the shit they were smoking when they designed this puzzle is a fire. And I bet Isaac missed out by leaving because I bet Isaac probably could have used some of that dank shit too. Holy my God, dude.
Then the game started to run like shit again, regularly dropping below 60 FPS at 1440p on my 4090 despite literally nothing happening in the game. I went to mess with the settings and, predictably, the game crashed.
Game just crashed.
Unfortunately, the game just gets worse. To be fair, it didn't help that I was already in a foul mood from the last puzzle, but this next section sucks. It's so bad. It's yet another wire puzzle, but this time this sheep is chasing you and it's awful. It's awful.
At least an enemy is freaking chasing me.
The challenge is supposed to come from solving this puzzle while this idiot chases you, but it's just annoying. They aren't really a threat, attacking you once and then retreating, but the attacks slow you down, and their constant cycle of pursuit and retreat makes it very hard to predict their movement.
Okay, cool, dude. Cool, that was awesome the way you just teleported in front of my face. Really great. Dude, how do you get into any of these f***ing rooms? What is the point of any of this shit? What do these even do? It lights up this useless green box, dude. Useless. Get out of my f***ing way. Dude, how are you supposed to figure that out? Dude, they have to play test their game. Holy shit. Get out of my f***ing way, bro. This is awful. This game's trash, dude. Worst Poppy game by far. What a terrible area. This is horrible. This whole game is just a forgettable mess. Like, where are the set pieces? There was one cool room. Dude, at least make it a cool character, not a sheep. Dude, thank God Yarnaby didn't spawn during that first one, because I bet it would have been just as bad as this. Oh my God. Dude! I can't pull that one out, apparently. Get out of my f***ing way! I need this key card! Oh my God, stop. You're not scary. You just... Oh, dude, you just make an annoying puzzle even more annoying. And you can't see what you're doing is affecting because you have to run from this idiot the whole time, dude. No playtesting at all, clearly. Motherfucker, dude.
This whole section is frustrating, and most importantly, it isn't scary. This thing isn't scary, the music isn't scary, none of this is scary. For all of Finding Frankie's faults, at least that section with the phone guy stalking you was scary. It was intense.
Oh.
This isn't. It's just annoying. It just sucks. The area is the same boring generic gray hallways we've seen this whole time. There are no landmarks to let you gain your bearings, and it just sucks. It's so bad, guys.
I know what they were thinking. Nothing. They were thinking, how do we sell more stuffed animals, dude? That's all they were thinking about when they made this game, clearly. Let's add a bunch of characters that we can sell stuffed animals of, because that's all that we really care about, because we're actually an evil toy company, not a game developer. They're literally Playtime Co.
Considering how miserable my Poppy Chapter 4 experience had been so far, I got really salty and obnoxious because I wasn't having fun.
Oh my God, dude. This is terrible.
If you want to leave this room, it'll come at a cost. It's this little life or yours.
I don't give a shit. F this toy. What is this coming from? I don't give a shit. I kill everyone. No hesitation, bro. We savage. Get me f***ing out of here, dude. Oh my God. F minus minus, dude. That's the grade that section got.
After finally completing this section, we enter the showdown with the doctor, which is actually okay. I was still salty from the whole second half of the game being abysmally bad and literally not even working correctly, but the doctor fight is fine. It's pretty clear where you need to go and what you need to do, and the enemies are actually really creepy, but still not super annoying and unforgiving. There was one moment where I needed to drop a battery in order to pry some planks off of a vent, as you only have access to one hand during this segment, but unfortunately, as mentioned before, the hint box explaining how to drop items had glitched out for me, so I had no idea what to do.
Dude, I can't drop this thing. And I can't use my other hand. Dude. I'm trapped in here, dude. It's a soft lock, I think. You have to pull that shit down first. You don't have two hands. Hold left click. Thank you. Game never taught me that.
Again, I was still so salty that I just couldn't enjoy this otherwise decent section and get scared, and that frankly sucks because that's all I ever want from a horror game. I want it to be fun and scary. I criticized Indigo Park because it wasn't fun or scary, but at least it wasn't annoying like Poppy Chapter 4 is. I at least had some fun playing that game, and you know, Rambly was great. Even Poppy Chapter 3 was so much more fun and varied than this, and I really think a lot of it comes down to the uninspired prison setting in Chapter 4. The whole game looks the same. It's forgettable. Chapters 2 and 3 aren't perfect, but at least there were various memorable locations. The game station, the Whack-A-Wuggy room, the statues room, Playcare, Home Sweet Home, the school. Even if a lot of these segments featured similar or trivial gameplay, they were at least distinct from one another and broke the game up. Poppy Chapter 4, on the other hand, is just a non-stop slog through generic industrial corridors full of wire puzzles, and it sucks. Without the unique, weird, surreal setting that made Poppy popular in the first place, it just becomes a generic horror game, and its weaknesses start to become really apparent. There was something about the earlier chapters that made them feel cohesive and coherent. They were greater than the sum of their parts, and they had a lot of really memorable moments. However, with the game's director gone, it doesn't feel like anyone had a really clear vision for how Chapter 4 would feel when it all came together. There are moments here and there where you can tell the game is trying to do the ambitious, cool stuff that Poppy is known for, but it all gets buried beneath the frustrating, monotonous, boring game beneath it. Anyway, we kill the doctor, who's actually just a brain in a jar, by solving wire puzzles, because of course that's how you kill him. Ironically, I didn't even realize that I had killed him because there wasn't any weight or impact to our actions. We had just solved another wire puzzle that was identical to the hundreds of others we'd solved before. It never registered to me what we were even doing with all these wires and batteries. Anyway, we get the Omni Hand, which is literally just a key. It's no different than the Red Hand, other than it's allowed to interact with some puzzles that the Red Hand isn't. It doesn't change the gameplay whatsoever. We return to Poppy and Doey, and they argue about something, and then Ollie calls us, freaking out, and we have to do some nonsense with the generator. Unfortunately, the game highlights all the sections of the generator that you can't interact with yet. You need to first pull the red switch on the left, for which there is zero indication or instruction. Again, this game was not playtested. It was rushed. Unfortunately, this is where we hit the most nefarious softlock in the game. Returning to the vat room, we need to solve a gear puzzle, which isn't that hard. However, the game glitched out, and when I placed the wrong gear in one of the final slots, it started spinning anyway, and I couldn't re-grab it. Even worse, the gear that was supposed to go in that slot didn't fit onto the other peg.
This is terrible, dude. Incomprehensible. It's incomprehensible, dude. This is the worst Poppy game by far. Like, they completely... It's like they got different people to make this entirely. I think they did. I mean, we know they lost Isaac, who was like, you know, obviously the guy who was making the games good, because this is just nonsense. It makes no sense. All the logical answers, the logical solution being this, doesn't work. And this one has to be right, because it won't even let me take it off. You can't leave this room and the door is locked. Your favorite Pokemon? Charmander. This is ridiculous. I'm trapped in this room. There are 3 gears. I have a solution to the puzzle that's very simple. Use this gear, which shuts this door, but I should be able to put it here, but it just won't go here, dude. Like, what a stupidly designed puzzle. What? Did we just kill him, apparently? I don't even know how. When did we kill the doctor? What? We just, like, got key cards. You think my game is broken? Azula, did someone know what's supposed to happen here?
This was a legit softlock. The game just broke, and worst of all, it wasn't obvious that it was broken. I figured maybe there was some other gear hidden somewhere that did fit into this other peg and spent minutes wandering around helplessly. Eventually, someone in my chat told me that the game had glitched and that I had to restart from the last checkpoint, and I did, and this time the game worked correctly.
We're gonna try to do checkpoint. Yeah, we're gonna restart from checkpoint, because people are saying my game... I wouldn't be surprised. The game's been broken like 50 times now. Nope, same problem. Oh, now I can take it off. The game broke, you're right.
All of these issues just kept piling up, and eventually, it broke me. I was so done with Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, and you can hear it in my voice.
Dude. I don't know what went wrong at Playtime, at Mob Entertainment, but this is a disaster. clearly losing their game's director had a huge impact on this franchise, because this is trash, dude. This is the worst game in the franchise. It's like Ban, dude. Our final task is to gather and plant 4 explosives and then solve another puzzle, and it's honestly just whatever. I'm not going to explain it. It's just more bullshit. It's neither fun or scary or difficult. It, like most of Poppy Chapter 4, is filler. Get the f out of here. I'm not in the mood, dude. Anyway, we meet up with Doey and Safe Haven like explodes or something. I'm not sure why. Did we do that with the explosives we just planted? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this game anymore. It's incoherent. Doey, however, is very upset that all of his toy friends are dead, and the conflicting personalities within him begin to drive him mad, and he transforms into this thing with the heads and arms of the 3 children he was made from protruding from the mouth. It's actually really cool looking. That looks really cool. Unfortunately, the game starts to rely on precise actions with the hands for this final segment, and these hands just don't work that well. They're janky as heck. There's one mouse button assigned to each of them, and whenever you grab a hook to swing over, you're never really sure if clicking the mouse will pull you towards the hand or if it'll just retract it back to you. And if you say leap into a pit and accidentally retract the hand, you die. No! No! Dude. The same button to retract is the button that pulls you forward. So it's just random. It's just like luck. It's just not responsive enough. This should feel like I'm swinging around like Spider-Man and have lots of maneuverability, but instead the hands feel clunky and janky and get you killed. Bro! Bro! What is this, dude? And he can't get me here. This is so funny.
Everything's too loud! Too loud!
Cool. Dude, they obviously losing Isaac Christopherson destroyed this company. They can't make games anymore, dude. That noise. Sometimes like a lot goes into making a game and a lot of people, but sometimes like one key person pulls it all together. And it's ironic because when all the controversy was going down with mob games and everything, all the people who had been like really screwed over and abused by these people and cheated, in some cases hired for work that they weren't paid for, in all those cases, everybody said, Coaster, Turnip, everybody said, Isaac is cool. Hey, these guys suck, Examination sucks, Enchanted Mob sucks, Zach Bell sucks, these guys suck. But Isaac Christopherson, or as they called him, Isaac X, is cool. And my video came out, calling out, then my second video came out. Isaac resigned the day that video came out. And this is the game we got. And it's like, damn, the one cool person who apparently knew what they were doing, the director of the game, resigned, and then we get this. Get this trash, bro. The final boss battle with Doey is, it's okay. The core mechanic of freezing him and then damaging him with buzzsaws is fine and easy enough to understand, but the actual implementation is, that's not gonna work. The game also starts breaking its own rules. Suddenly there are hooks that you can't pull yourself up to for no reason. There are areas where Doey can corner you and prevent you from moving yet can't kill you, leading to some very awkward jank. It did, however, lead to what I feel is perhaps my best salty one-liner ever. If they would give me access to the source code for this game, all of these problems would be gone in literally 10 minutes less. Because I'd delete the entire source code and tell them to start over and do it right. Also, every time you respawn, the game makes a deafening loud noise for no reason. That noise! Everything's too loud. Yeah, when the game reloads, it's freaking too loud, dude. This is insane. It's crazy. This feels like Garden of Banban level polish, as in none, no polish. Baby's first indie game. Dude, it's too tight. Again, this boss fight isn't that bad. It's got cool things about it, but it comes at the end of a game that's so tedious, boring, broken, and incoherent, it's just really hard to enjoy it. Oh, now I have one. F***ing A, dude. Doesn't make any sense. Half the time these things don't f***ing work. The incompetency at mob games is like a joke. This won't even help. I can't use this one apparently, because get f***ed, that's why. And then whenever you think you have it, he like jumps away and starts like doing stupid bullshit and shooting stuff that never gonna kill you. Bro! Why doesn't it work? So jank, dude. Jank overdose. Get over. Do not teleport. Right here, dude. Right here. Dude, over here. You piece of shit. Over here. What are you doing, dude? Oh, and he dropped it. Okay, dude. This is so bad. Incomprehensibly bad. The grab didn't work. I tried. Whatever idiot thought that the button that releases the hand should also be the button that pulls you towards it needs to be put in jail, honestly. Like, there's bad game design and then there's criminally negligent game design, and this is criminally negligent. And if you don't know criminal negligence is, it's when you're such a f***ing asshole that it's illegal. And that's what the people who designed it, made this game are. Cool, I don't know what to f***ing do now. It's beeping. Cool, thanks. Very useful. Very useful feedback that the game's giving me. Yeah, if I had to give this F minus so far. Maybe it'll get better after this. Trying to follow the sound. I guess, yeah, that did work. What was that, dude? You... What?
You and Poppy! It's all your fault! When to kill you! Kill everyone who hurts me! Rip you to little pieces!
What the f***? If I have to do that whole f***ing boss fight again. Thank God. It won't even let you activate them until you're in the perfect spot. Because... Yeah.
You and Poppy! It's all your fault! When to kill you! Kill everyone who hurts me! Can't trust anyone! The gentle voices lie! You lie! I tried to be better, to be who they needed. Smart enough, not good enough, not... I'm sorry.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
With Doey finally defeated, out of respect, I performed the ceremonial dance of the gamer. A franchise like Poppy Playtime is bigger than any one individual person. It could survive losing key team members, including the game's director Isaac, but Mob Entertainment lost basically all of the leadership on their dev team at once. Not only did they lose the guy in charge with the vision who was putting this all together, but they also lost countless other designers, programmers, animators, artists, and more. And this had a clear and obvious impact on the quality of Chapter 4. Don't get it twisted though. I'm not suggesting that the Chapter 4 team is incompetent or incapable of doing their jobs, but it really doesn't feel like there's anyone left with a clear vision for how these games come together. A lot of the core team members that left had been there for a long time, and they really understood this franchise and could see how these games end up becoming greater than the sum of their parts. And that institutional knowledge is extremely valuable. No matter how talented the new people brought in to replace them are, it's crazy to expect them to be able to compete with the visionaries who built this franchise into what it is today. I've heard a lot of rumors about what horrible things the executives at Mob Entertainment did that caused the game's director and nearly everyone else to abandon their incredibly successful project right on the cusp of its conclusion, but I won't speculate. Not today, at least. Whatever it was that the executive leadership team did, it clearly had devastating consequences on their company's ability to deliver the kind of products that they're known for. And I'm sadly really skeptical that we'll ever get the grand finale that Isaac and the original team envisioned. I'm not sure that we'll really get the ending we deserve, though I hope I'm wrong. If you enjoyed Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, I'm glad and I respect your opinion. Please respect mine as well. Thanks for watching.
It set off an alarm. So if anyone's home, they know exactly where you are. Pretty nifty, huh? Security is very important to us here. If I were you, I'd start running.